my favorite day, new product day. Let's check out the new cleanup sluice. So, this is the little buddy. You've probably seen it online. If you are a follower of Dream Mat, you've definitely seen this. So this is a little cleanup sluice developed by them. It's actually printed by a good friend of mine named Coulter Young. Now you may know his products because he did these. The little dry electromagnetic separator. If you follow my channel, you've definitely seen this product before. I love it. I have one of the rare ones, which is gray. You've probably seen his newer products. But he teamed up with Dream Mat to print the box. And it's pretty nice. It's got a little pump in the bottom. And then David went and put in his classic Dream Mat. Now this is a micro mat that's in here. And I actually noticed that this is the same dimensions as the Banjo Pan from Gold Cube. So we'll talk about that later. But what this thing is supposed to do is give you an easy cleanup system at home that you can put in a little tub. Now, we're not going to run this today because we don't have the best light in here for filming, so we will be filming outside shortly. But this is pretty cool because when I come home from mining and I want to do a quick strip of my concentrates to see what's in it, I think this is going to do great. We're going to test multiple material through this. We're going to start off with a little bag of pay dirt that actually came with this. This came along with a bag of pay dirt and a little rock that your kids can dig out some stones, because Coulter sent me this as if it came from the GPAA, and when you order it from the GPAA it comes with a couple extra things, and we were just wondering what it came with, so that's what those come with if you're going to order it through the GPAA, or you can order it from Dream Mat directly. So I'm going to get outside with this, we're going to get some material together, and we're going to run it and see how it does.
Alright guys, so excuse the overexposure, it's definitely a bright day, but I wanted to show you how we have this set up and then we're going to start working with it. So when you order from the GPAA, you're going to get these with it. You get a nice little thing of pay dirt and one of the little gemstone hunting kits. And even my 14-year-old is pretty excited about that, so thank you, Coulter. Now the way I have it set up is I've got my extension cord running to the wall. There's a little fish tank pump behind it that we can adjust the water speed. I picked up this tub at Walmart and I'm just using one of my square pans because it seems to fit nicely. I wanted to make a nice small little tub setup. Sorry, can't speak English today. But I'm just going to plug that in and we will work material through that. And we'll get some nice footage of the gold being caught in the cells. Now I already went and washed this because I didn't want any kind of release agents on it. So I gave everything a good scrub down. We will do a couple little drops of jet dry in here. And let's see how it does. So we did have to get some air bubbles out of there. This is spilling over a little bit, so let's just adjust that a little. There we go. Okay, so for our first test, we're going to try some of the training gold bag that came with it. And I want to make sure that it's wet. I don't want to run it dry, so we will just fill that up. And that works for wetting it down and cleaning out your bag. So that's what the material looks like. And we're just going to go ahead and start feeding that in. I do like how all of the cells instantly started exchanging material. I do notice that there's a little gap up here at the top. This doesn't fill the entire tray, so there's a spot right there that's catching some stuff at the top. But we'll call that a little nuggy trap. I do like seeing the exchange. Everything is dancing really, really nice. I think I could get it going this way a little bit more, but I'm not seeing much change in the bottom of the box. I am seeing a little piece of gold right there though. You guys can't see it, but there is a little bit of gold right there. Let's just keep feeding and we'll see if that stays in place. Yep, I'm seeing it staying there. Now the next material that I'm going to run is going to be much more difficult, let's say, because it comes directly from a mine that I found in Northeast Oregon, and we got some of the quartz from it, and it's got some nice free mill gold. So we're going to test that, but we will test our tailings. I'm seeing a lot of mica floating out of the pan. I'm seeing some black sand building up. I can no longer see the gold, but it could just be down below. This is already very classified material, so I didn't have to do anything ahead of time. So dumping that in. Alright, so that's everything in the little bag. Let me take the camera. So you guys can see the material exchanging in there. You guys probably can't see the gold because I really can't. I do see a couple bubbles right there. Let's get rid of those. Oh, there's a little piece right there, I think. Alright, so let's see what's in the pan, and then we'll see what's in the mat. There's something funny in this because you guys probably can't see it, but I'm getting a weird swirl in the water from this. It's like something, it's mid-level in the water, it's not on the surface. But we'll do a quick pan on this and then we'll pan that and see. Alright, so let's pan this back. See a big old piece of pyrite, but I'm not seeing any gold in there. But god dang, they put a lot of pyrite in there. Holy cow. Train people how to identify pyrite if this is a training bag. Alright, so let's check this out now. So you just push up the bottom, slide that out. So as you saw, there was some material caught up in the top. Now this is what I like, and I'm hoping that this works well. You saw how quickly that mat cleaned out. Alright, let's take a look at what's in here. So that much material is left out of the entire bag. And a lot of that was actually held in the top. So now let's just bring that back. And look at that. Right off the bat, we've got a nice little pile of gold right in the top. So it did pretty good at holding that size material. And there are some larger pieces in there. There's some smaller ones over here. So it definitely held the big stuff. We won't doubt that. Let's See if I can get a better shot on some of that. So that's pretty cool. But now we'll get set up for the more difficult stuff. See how it does against that. Okay guys, we waited until evening so that we'd have better light for filming. We've got everything set up. Now the material that we're going to run through this, that's going to give this a good solid test, is material that I got in Northeast Oregon. This was leftover crush from an old mine. Now I have some other stuff that I want to run that I crushed personally from the same mine. But I figured this is the best stuff to test because out and about, I want to get little samples of stuff from old mines, come home, run it really quick, pan it out, and see what kind of gold we got. So I'm going to just use a normal spoon. I've got the material all wetted, and we're just going to work this through. Now I did put jet dry in this because we noticed in our testing today that if you do not have jet dry, these little tiny cells will fill up with air. You'll get a little bubble in there, and material's just going to go right over it. So if you don't see those cells filling up, either brush your mat or put in a little bit more jet dry. Do not let air pockets let your gold slide by. So I don't see any air pockets. We're going to go ahead and run this material through. Probably get my son to help me do this so I can also do some filming. Now I'm seeing all the cells filling with material, and they are getting exchanged. I think I'm going to increase the flow a little bit, and I'm just going to do that by reaching down into there and opening up the valve. And the water coming over is cleaning out those cells some. But we are getting a nice wash, so I'm just going to adjust that a little bit more to where we're not getting quite the spill over. Right there seems to be just about perfect. So we're just going to work this material through. Better get myself into prospector mode. Flip my hat up. And I really like how the exchange is going on. I'll make sure I get some close-ups of that. And we're just going to run this material and we'll see what gold we have at the end. So let's make this a little faster. Okay, so we've ran about half the material, but I want to show you guys something cool. I've shut it down. We are going to clean out the mat, and we're just going to take this and we're just going to set it right over here in the banjo pan that I have. Now what I want to show you, and we will clean out the material that's stuck up here in the top into the pan, but what I want to show you is that I figured out you can also use the little mat that came with the banjo pan in the little buddy. So let's first make sure that we get that gold out of there, because I know people are saying that I need to do that. We're just going to wash that out really quick. Oh, don't lose my stuff. It stayed. Alright, so now we've got our material. We'll just go ahead and clean that out right now. We've got our material from the mat in the banjo pan. And I am going to clean out the banjo pan mat and my tailings to get rid of any air bubbles. Yep, that worked great. I got all the air bubbles out of the mat. Now this is the same matting that I use in my gold cube. And we're going to slide that right into there. And that fits really, really nice. So, let me get this powered on. And I'm going to run the rest of this material through there, and what we'll do at the end is we're going to compare the two and see how much gold we caught. I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but I'm saying that now this sluice
can be used with multiple mats. So if you're doing some really hard material, maybe the conveyor belt will work better for you. So this is pretty awesome. I'll run this material and we'll be right back. All right, so I ran all the material. I am going to put this mat into this pan. I'm going to dump the material that's in the banjo pan into my nice square pan that's in here. I am chasing the light. As you can see, we either had too much light today or not enough. So we're gonna get this material together, head inside, and we'll see how much gold we got.
All right, so I panned out the concentrates from both mats. The Dream mat did really awesome. You can see just how fine of gold it got. But you can see that the conveyor belt did pretty much just as good. But there were a little less concentrates from the Dream mat than the conveyor belt. I'm pretty darn happy with that. I'm looking forward to testing it on more material. But I have one more pan of concentrates that I need to go through, and that's the rock that I crushed personally. So let's get that into a pan and let me show you that. So here's the exciting part. As you can see, we've got less than 2 cups of material right here. This is rock that me and Chris crushed from the mine up in Northeast Oregon. And it's less than 2 cups including that material. But look at how much gold we got from just that little bit of rock. Now, I'm not a hard rock miner, but I know that for that much material and that much material, that is a lot of gold. And there's some chunkier gold in there too, which tells me that we most likely crushed some bigger pieces when we were putting it through the little mini mill, but that's okay because we still got the gold. Okay guys, I've had a good chance to play around with this system, and I think I'm ready to give my final thoughts on it. But first, let's go over the pros and the cons, starting with the pros. Now, one of the things that I really like about this system is that I can just plug it into a 110 outlet on the wall. I'm used to running 12-volt batteries for all of my pumps, so to be able to just plug it into the wall is really, really nice. I'm not having to charge batteries or do a whole lot of work. I can just fill up my basin, plug it in, and it's going. The other thing that I like about its size is that I can do it in a small basin inside my house. Now, I know we filmed outside, but that was purely for lighting. If I was just doing this for myself, not filming or anything, I would honestly run this in my garage with my little basin on a little table and be very happy. But it's not very bright in there, so we filmed outside. Now, being that it is small can be a disadvantage, but we'll go over that in the cons. But being small is also a great advantage. I mean, look at how small this thing is. You can store this in the tote that you run it in with a little pan. I mean, everything can fit within its own basin and then be stored away. I would be careful storing this because this plastic does not do very well when it gets hot. So you're gonna wanna make sure you keep it in a cool place. I guess I should include that in the cons. But the pro about the material that this is made out of is that it is very lightweight. I mean, this whole thing is only a couple of pounds. If I took out the little pump inside of it and the mat, this thing is the weight of a mouse fart. So, the other advantage that I really like about it is the mat. As I already showed you, you can swap this out with another mat, specifically the conveyor belt mat that comes with the gold cube. But if you like testing out different mats at home, and if you're like Alan Robertson who likes to make his own mats out of silicone, this is a great system for that. You can test different little cleanup mats at home with this. I don't really make my own, but I know a lot of people do, so I think they're gonna really enjoy this. Another advantage is you can actually feed this pretty quick. Now, the little cells, as long as you run jet dry, do a great job at capturing. I was really surprised to see just how small of gold that this was catching, but I was seeing it all the way down the mat. So let's go into some of the cons. Back to the first con, it is small. But you accept that when you get this. But because it is small, there is going to be a level of loss at the very end. So you might want to just run your concentrates through twice, but we already do that no matter what system we're running. So I would recommend this for stripping your stuff and then running it again, but it's going to give you a really good idea of what you have in the gravel. Another disadvantage is you absolutely have to run jet dry with this system. If you do not run jet dry, every little cell gets an air pocket in it and gold just floats over. The water also flows over the top a lot easier, but the moment that you put in a few drops of jet dry, the water up here settles down and all of your cells start filling up with material. So we all know about jet dry, just don't do it out in nature. Third con that I found is that there's actually a little gap up in here in the top, and it's not much, but when you're running material, quite a bit, like most of the material that I ended up getting out of this was from this upper spot that was catching it. There's a little tiny gap from the mat. That could also be an advantage, I guess, if you have some chunkier stuff, they could get caught right there. So to each their own. Another thing that I noticed, and I'm gonna recommend for them to fix, is the fill line. So if you put it right at the fill line, it actually has a little bit of a suction problem with the pump. So you need to actually have it, I would say about a 1/4 inch higher than the fill line, and then it's gonna run just fine. One of the advantages I forgot to say in the pros was that you can adjust the flow back here, but honestly, I ran it pretty much shut the whole time. I barely have it cracked open right now, and that was also running jet dry in the system, because even with it cranked down all the way, if you don't have jet dry, it really likes to flow over the top of that, and that cleans out your cells directly below it. So jet dry, jet dry, jet dry. I also really liked this level. I really don't want to put that as a pro though. We all know how to level our systems, but I did really like that include. So let's go to my final thoughts. My overall final thoughts is this is really fun for families. So if you're a prospector and you have a couple little kiddos, and I know I've got some kiddos watching out there. Hi guys, it was really good seeing you at the show. I would recommend this for you guys because you can go panning, have a really good day, get a bucket full of concentrates. I recommend speed panning. Teach your kids how to speed pan and just come home with a bucket of really good pay dirt to run, and then run it through this. Your kids can run it on the table. You can plug it into the wall, like I said, big advantage, and they can actively clean up their own gold and just get further into the hobby. Now, if you order it through the GPAA, like I showed you, you get the little rock digging piece and you get a little pay dirt to run through this. So that's really, really fun. But for families, this is great. We're gonna be reviewing some other models from Coulter, and we're gonna show those and how they're a little bit more for the, little bit more professional prospector, let's say. But overall, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. A couple little adjustments to be done, but it's another great product by Coulter. He teamed up with Dream Mat to do this, so I'm really glad that David teamed up with him. If you guys are looking to get one of these, head over to the GPAA or to Dream Mat, which is prospectorsdream.com, and get yourself one of these. I'm going to be reviewing some other products here soon, and me and Coulter, the guy who printed this off, are going to be testing out some different stuff this summer. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.